Hello and welcome. Here we are, part 3 of what is turning into an incredible series that I feel has such great value and so much significance at this amazing turning point. So today we are talking about AI, part 3, the good, the bad, the ugly, and we're looking at confidential, verifiable, and decentralized computing. And I've got my dear friend, ally, here with me. Hello, David, Building Digital Freedom. Welcome back.
Thank you, Charlotte. It's great to be back, and yeah, this has turned into something much bigger than we both planned. So yeah, we're pretty excited about the directions it's going in, and yeah,
Yeah.
look forward to hearing some questions from you guys if any of you are live right now.
Yeah.
And if you're not, just put some in the comments and we'll check them out later.
There's a few people live, and this is the good news. I just wanted to let you all know that we are planning to pivot on this slightly and reproduce this series and actually extend it and turn it into a lot more of a Q&A debate, and really getting into the meat of where we're at with this conversation around AI and its expansion. It's encroaching on our privacies, but also kind of weaving with our consciousness and our destiny going forward as a humanity. And I personally have really, I want to say, opened my heart to seeing the greater purpose of this transitional. I always used to think about, AI and technology. Well, first of all, I thought about it as a big bad evil for a really lot of years, like up until about 2019. Like I still don't I had a flip phone until 2019. I didn't have Facebook. I've never really been on Facebook. Like, I have been the biggest tech denier of anybody I know in my friend circle. So I think I can say in all honesty that I really have been very skeptical about technology entering our lives. And what's happened for me over this last few months is that I'm really starting to get a sense spiritually of what's happening, what's going on. And therefore, seeing the relevance of how important it is how we step across this threshold, with our awareness, right? Being very, very autonomous. They're very sovereign in this. And I was thinking before we came on, David, I was thinking about you and I was thinking, wow, I was the person that didn't want a home computer, that didn't want a cell phone, that didn't want Wi-Fi, and you've been the man that has been in this tech world for a long time, right? You've been
been going the opposite of Charlotte. So I had all the gadgets, all the latest gadgets, and now I'm just finding myself feeling that I want to pull back from it, because I feel like it's one of the lessons that we're going to have to learn going forward is standing in our digital sovereignty, and that's not just with AI, but that's with everything technology wise. It's putting our stuff in the cloud, and it's keeping our computer secure, all that sort of stuff, and also making sure we're careful what information about ourselves gets out there, because that's valuable. That's something that we need to protect. And yeah, but I'm also in agreement with you about AI as well. It's I can see some amazing lights at the end of the tunnel, especially as far as how the technology itself can be implemented. So that's one of the things we'll hopefully, if we have time, we'll talk about today. We'll just see how we go. But yeah.
And no rush, because we're going to do lots of these. Again, we were just talking before we came on the show about basically probably redoing this series and doing it with a lot more interactive with the cards, and us having these deeper discussions around let's really take time to unpack every aspect of this and look at it, ask questions about it, and consider it from a lot of different angles. because and maybe even I'm going to bring on a couple of other people that I know that might have some information or things to, get into a cool discussion about this, because it's probably, with all the chaos going on out in the world, in the big arena, it seems like it's almost like this is going on behind the scenes, but it's happening so rapidly. And I literally see, like, some of my long-term tech denying friends are like literally jumping down the chat GPT rabbit hole with wild abandon right now. And I'm like, OMG, like, if you guys are into it, like, oh wow, right? So, but beautifully, I've come, just even in the last 48 hours, I've come to this place of being like, okay, I see where the discernment lines are for myself, right? Really see the magic of where we are with this, because it's interesting. They showed me almost like a toroidal field, and it was like, we're over here, and we want to get to enlightenment, right? We want to get like, we're down at this gross place and we want to get up there. But it's a toroidal, like we have to go back through some of the distortion that we've created. And interestingly, it's sort of like homeopathy, right? I see AI like homeopathy. It's part of the medicine that takes us back through what we've been disconnected from. So it reconnects us with our, basically AI is a container of all human intelligence, all human thoughts, all the ingenuity, all of the, it's like this massive data bank encyclopedia of everything the humans have exalted. And for us to actually rewind the tape here and go back through and see how incredible we are, how resourced we are. It's something I say to people all the time. It's like, oh my gosh, there's nothing stopping us. Like, you want to grow a tomato, you can grow it 5,000 different ways. Like like, information is so extraordinary, but if we don't know how to use it, and if we don't know what we want to do with it and where we want to go with it, well, the ones that know how they want to use it and how they're going to sort of ping us into that, like, I think about like the nanny states, getting us dependent on it in a certain way where we just unconsciously walk right into that dependency, which is what you're talking about, the dependency and the losing our freedoms and rights around that dependency. That is what we want to say, wait a minute, like, we can direct this. We've got to be conscious of where we are in this discussion. So thank you for all the wisdom you've gathered on your side of this great divide, David. Thank you for all the years you've put into, like, developing this awareness and these relationships and these connections. And thank you for your care and concern about making this technology serve us, not like basically enslave us, right?
Yes, and yes, we're definitely going to go down a much more positive path than what we have been in the past. And I'd just like to add something as well. That's like one of the things that people are generally saying about AI is how some topics can be quite inaccurate. But what I'm seeing on social media, some of the most mind-blowing stuff that people are asking AI is like are questions about spirituality and life itself. And they're getting some mind-blowing answers to that, and a lot of it resonates with what they already knew. So that's interesting. And the one of the good things about AI that it's going to teach us is it's going to teach us how to ask the right questions, because that's what you do when you're using AI. You're like putting what's called a prompt, which is pretty much just a question. It's like, so you're prompting the AI to just like answer a question. And one of the things that's really important about life is like being able to like know how to ask the right questions, because if you ask the wrong questions, it doesn't matter if the answer's right, okay, because you're just not going to get anywhere anyway. So if you learn how to ask the right questions, this is something that people that work in sales, that work in the field of science, it's like that's something that they have to learn how to do.
We do it with the cards too. It's ask the
Yes.
questions with dowsing, with everything. It's how you ask the question. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful. So speaking of the question, David, what question would you like to pose to the cards about today's exploration? I want you to ask a question.
Right. Okay. Well, oh, this is a bit like Christmas for me. Because it's like I do. There are. Well, we might get into the technology later if we have time and we feel it's the right direction to steer the conversation into today. But in a nutshell, there's like 3 blockchain platforms. One in particular that all 3 of them are struggling because what they're doing is not really popular with the powers that be at the moment. But it's great for us. I just want to know how those chains are going to go. Blockchains are going to go going forward. That are looking to become a big part of AI, because currently they're not doing very well.
Okay.
Just the cards, what the cards have to say, whether they're actually going to be able to get there, fulfill the mission and actually become more popular, or whether they're just going to die out.
Okay, so will you name the 3 and then I'll lay out 1, 2, 3. Okay.
All right. So all 3 of these blockchains are using something called a trusted execution environment, which pretty much means it's a private blockchain, whereas normal blockchain is visible to the public. And they're also decentralizing artificial intelligence by putting themselves, by putting artificial intelligence agents on their platforms. So that decentralization also helps with verification, as well as keeping all the information that goes into there confidential. So recently there's been a controversy about how it's like ChatGPT, OpenAI, and Grok. And now it's like letting people know that whatever you put in there's now a permanent record of. So that's the only thing negative that I would say today about being careful with prompts, is just make sure you don't like use it like your therapist or something like that. So whatever you put in there, just be happy. Just be happy for anyone in the world to know all about it if they found out about it.
Okay, so you name the 3 again so that I can lay out cards on them.
But the most popular one is one called Secret Network.
Okay.
And then the second most popular one is one called Phala, Phala. And the third one, which is like the least well known, is one called Marlin, like the fish.
Okay, so they have. It feels like there's different functions, different. In the end, it seems like they all kind of do okay. The first one, Secret, feels like it's funny. It's a bit secretive and magical and almost like innocent and like playful. This is very playful, innocent. The Magician, 6 of Cups, the 3 of Wands. It's very like restoring our faith, kind of getting us back in touch with our innocence and our creativity. 3 of Wands is very much creativity. Now the middle one, what was the name of it again? The middle one you said?
Phala.
How do you say it? Phala?
Yeah, Phala is spelled Phala.
Okay, so Phala looks like it sort of, it didn't get going, it didn't get to where it intended. It had a bigger vision and it kind of fell short of that vision, but it feels like it could be utilized a lot in the workplace or something. It feels very like practically oriented for just basic work tasks or something like that.
That's exactly what it does. So the cards
but I do feel like it's half of what it originally was intended for. So it's kind of downgraded to just a workplace kind of thing, which is very useful, right? And then the last one that you said, again, say
Marlin.
the name. Oh,
Marlin,
right.
like the fish.
Mala, yeah. Okay, so
Marlin, yeah.
Marlin, yes.
MARLIN.
So it looks like almost the opposite. It started off being just more like a lark or something, like, and it's actually growing in integrity, and like this is very much, this is a very much what do we want to call it, sort of like the feeling of open source and shared resource and stuff like that. So it feels like it develops more of a strong community. But it started off a little bit more just like not that serious or something.
Well, yeah, that makes sense, because it's much more the least well known out of the three, and the youngest most probably out of the three.
Yeah.
Secret's most probably the most mature and has the most partnerships at the moment. Fowler's doing not too bad. It's like this big Fowler's biggest thing right now is something called Eliza OS, which is all about the workplace, more or less. It's like getting what's called AI agents to go out in the world and work on your behalf. So instead of hiring a whole bunch of people to do stuff for your business, you can actually have what are called AI agents that go out and do jobs that humans might normally do.
Right. And this is something that, again, like I said, I just can't even believe in the last, probably since we did our last conversation, actually, it's coming out of the woodwork at me from every direction. It's like, yeah. But ironically, normally, like even a month ago, that would have triggered the heck out of me, and I would have been like, oh my God, it's taking over all my friends and my family and everybody. But it's almost like, and I keep checking with myself. I'm like, are you just getting hijacked here? What's happening? But I'm like, no, I really, truly, this is energetically, I see how it's useful to a point of like reconnecting us with more ease. It's almost like, okay, it's like saying something along the lines of, we've got this really crazy big clunky system of everything is tech, everything is online, everything is digital, right? Like, and so it takes so much effort. Like I've talked to so many of my friends over the last few years, we're just slaves to our computers with our businesses. Yeah. It's just, everything is data entry and this and that and answering emails and doing this and creating this and that. And everything takes so long, and it's just laborious work, right? And meanwhile, we want to get off our computers. We want to go out in the world and create and do art and learn new skills and, like grow our own food and all of that stuff. And it's like we end up being enslaved on our computers with these tasks with our businesses so much of the time. So to me, it's almost like AI tech in the right hands, that is done in a way that isn't about hijacking our data. It isn't about spying on us. It isn't about controlling the agenda and steering us in a direction. It's actually tools to help us, give AI the responsibility of all that online, just basic heavy lifting that will save us. It's not just about efficiency. It's about clearing the deck and letting the tech deal with the tech, right?
Exactly. And one of the things that is interesting about the newness of this is it's very similar to when the internet first came out. There's a lot for us to learn. It's like, what is a website? What is an email? And getting your head around all that sort of stuff was difficult. And it's like talking completely foreign language to someone that didn't know anything about it. But also, the powers that be wanted to obviously take that technology into a direction that's like, it's still not that great for us, but it's sort of like backfired on them quite a bit, because I think it's been very useful in waking all of us up. So many of us, it's like have learned so much about the world through the internet, and AI has the potential to be, it's like something maybe more dangerous, but also more liberating than what our current technology is.
I agree. I really agree. And it's almost like, I would not have been convinced even 10 years ago, even 7 years ago, before it was during the pandemic that I had the experience of, having my first online client and having my first I took this incredible course, and it was done online. It was like a counseling therapy kind of course. I think I mentioned this maybe last time, and it was done online because of, we were not allowed to gather. And what was extraordinary was it really translated, like, especially well in certain ways that were almost better than in person. And for those of us that are in the therapeutic realm, the healing realm or whatever, we were like, what? How is this possible? Like, we really just didn't understand it. But now when you get into the quantum perspective and recognize, what we're doing, in fact, is we're creating sacred space when we enter into a meaningful relationship with this technology. We're literally coming into an agreement to create sacred space, and we set the tone of that space with our intention, with our questions, with our hearts, right? With our care. Like, we are the human element that sets that frequency. And, consequently, the results can be, like you said, if you set it just like any other tool, if you set it with a negative tone, with a, stealing energy, manipulating, or worse, right? It's going to have that effect. But if you set it with this frequency and intention, it's almost like you get a whole other kind of consciousness coming in around that.
Yes, yes. It's almost like maybe we're being trained on how to work directly with consciousness itself, because that's ultimately where humanity's heading towards, and also using our intuition a lot more. So, and in that situation, we're sort of like dealing direct with consciousness, and everything around us is conscious. So, maybe artificial intelligence is like a stepping stone towards that. So,
and this is what I'm finally getting, like, I'm finally going, oh, right, it's a tool to get us back in touch with the latent abilities in consciousness and incredible technologies that we contain inside of ourselves. And I do really firmly believe, and have always felt this, that it is like training wheels to get us back in touch with the technology, where we won't need that anymore. We won't need it. So it's kind of like helping us escape out of the prison that we've been locked into, right? We've been locked into this whole online, digital, virtual prison, and it kind of shows us how to retreat from that and have our lives back. Yeah.
yes, exactly. And yeah, I don't know if now's the right time, but maybe we might look into how the technology itself could work instead of how it works now.
Let's do it.
Um,
And I don't see any comments let me see if I'm doing something wrong here. Not sure. Anyway, I haven't seen any comments yet. So those of you that are watching live, do you want to jump on and just let us know that the comment section is working? That'd be great. Thank you.
yeah. So so just to recap, where we've been as far as discussing how the technology currently works. Last time I was talking about the different language models. So everyone's most probably heard about the large language model. So that's so a large language model can encompass. Well, it doesn't really have any limit on how much data it can encompass. So it can pretty much cover the whole internet if it's designed that way. And then we've got another type of language model called a domain language model. So that a particular AI is confined to a particular organisation, so
Yep.
or a business. So let's just say we're running a global franchise. We have offices around the world. The AI would be constrained to that network only, and be doing work within that network. So let's just say I want to file a annual report. and I want the AI to gather a whole bunch of data for me. It'll go around to all the branches, grab all the sales figures and stuff like that, and look at pertinent emails and compile all that information into a document for me. But it won't be gathering that data from outside the organisation itself. It won't be going out on the internet to gather that. And the language model that I'm most excited about, and there's been the least amount of work in, is local language models. So local language model AIs, they exist only on your computer and maybe possibly your home network. So if you have like an iPad and maybe a laptop as well as a desktop computer, it's like it'd be confined to all those devices, and that local language models only going to be gathering data from those areas, but also it could be your gatekeeper. Okay, and it can it can be your what's the word? Your
like a watchdog or a bouncer.
yes, exactly. That's a good word. Yeah, so you can set up your AI to do things in a certain way, and just only expose what you want to have exposed to the world, and anything you don't want like the other AIs and the rest of the world to see. It won't expose that information. So I think I gave an example before about a publisher, a publishing house and an author. So a publishing house would be a domain model AI. So a publishing house would have a whole bunch of books and authors on its platform, and then you could have an author itself and she could be interacting with the publisher, and that publisher could be interacting with large language models. So, one way things could work, which would be a lot fairer, because right now they're trying to eliminate copyright. Let's just say we might be able to retain that. One of the ways it could be retained is I could have 4 or 5 books on gardening, okay, and I might want 2 of those 5 books to be out there in the wild, and I'll just tell the publishing house, look, if a large language model AI like Grok or OpenAI or ChatGPT comes knocking on the door, just tell them you can use my information, but it'll cost them it's X amount of dollars. And that's an example of how the different models can interact with each other.
I love this. So it's almost like we want to, in a way, arm ourselves with protection with the watchdog or the barley guard right at the onset before a whole pile of our stuff gets taken. And I'm literally thinking about it as I'm designing a course right now. I'm like, okay, depending on which platforms it goes on, it's gone, right? Anything that we do at this point is boom, see you later.
Well, right now it's Wild West, and AIs can do whatever they want. And there's a lot of pirated content that's available, not just for AIs to use, but also for ourselves to use, where we're not paying the content creator for it, which is not fair to them. Yeah. And that's where AI becomes a little bit controversial, especially when it comes to it's issues of intellectual property. And there's so moving on from there, it's there's different types of AIs as well. So you got the Chat GPTs and the OpenAIs and the Groks. They're just general AIs, for lack of a better word. You can also have AI assistants. Okay, so let's just say you're using Photoshop on your computer right now. There'd be an AI built into that. I think it already has one where that can assist you in creating designs and stuff like that inside of Photoshop. And there's also AI agents, which I've mentioned previously before. So AI agents are workers that are sent out for a particular task. It's so let's just say, going back to that author, it's she might use an AI agent to go out and not only talk to her current publisher, but also other publishers as well, and sell her book to those publishing houses. It's so there's a whole bunch of, it's the sky's the limit as far as AI agents are concerned. You can get them to go out and gather information for you in any way you want. So it is really like having your own employee. That's the best way to put it.
Great. Yeah. And probably going to be pretty important going
Yeah,
forward, right?
and it goes back to what you were saying before, Charlotte, about clearing the deck. So AI agents are going to be very helpful in that. You can just get them to streamline and automate all your work, and something that might used to take you, a few weeks or a couple of months might possibly be able to be done in a couple of hours, or even a few minutes.
Wow. Right. Okay. Take us to the next level, David. We've got some time. Where do you want to go next?
Okay. Well, it's we've gone through all the negative stuff about how it's like we're already heavily surveilled with technology as it currently is, and artificial intelligence has the potential to do that, and do that on steroids. But one of the things that's going to be very helpful by becoming more private with how the technology itself works is going to improve transparency, which sounds counterintuitive, but there's not much transparency in AI at the moment as far as its ability to work. There's stuff even that large language models can't get their hands on. So let's just say, so the two biggest fields I can think of off the top of my head would be finance and health.
Okay.
All right. So obviously, it's all the information the hospitals have on their patients and their staff is confidential for good reason. Okay, but private AI will allow them through their local models or domain language models, allow them to decide what data they expose to the rest of the world. So let's just say we've got hospitals around the world talking to each other through their AI agents, and they're trying to gather information on on techniques that might help people overcome addiction. They can expose a whole bunch of information without exposing personal information about the patients themselves, and they can see which hospitals are doing better and which hospitals are doing worse, which therapies tend to be the most effective. So it can be really quite helpful, and that information can also be allowed to be seen by large language models like Grok or ChatGPT, etc.
Right. So it really comes into confidentiality and basically
well, confidential computing, but I think private computing is a better way to put it.
Okay.
And that's is one of the areas that we're originally going to go into. I think I'll still go into it a bit right now. But, so right now, your computer, it already has some privacy protection on it with the drive of your computer. So the new Windows operating systems and the new Mac operating systems have something called drive encryption, where all the data that's stored on your drive is encrypted with a special key, and unless you have that key, you can't see the data. So let's just say your laptop gets stolen, someone wants to see all the data on it. Unless they can get hold of the decryption key, they can't see any of the data on it. Okay. So that's really good. And also there's something that's been introduced in Windows 11, which is called the Trusted Platform module. And what that does, it's it creates special cryptographic keys that load up during the startup. I suppose maybe the simplest way to explain TPM was it just checks to make sure that what it was trying to load up in the operating system, whatever software is trying to load up during startup, is actually genuine software and a genuine operating system. So it makes it harder for viruses and malware to take over your computer during the boot stage, because when it does take over at that stage, it's very hard to get rid of. But it's one area that's overlooked, and that's very important, especially as far as AI is concerned, is the CPU, the chip, the brain of your computer. There's no security on that at all. So if anything is watching what's going in and out of that chip, it can there's no protection against it at the moment. There are some chips that you can buy that have some have something called a trusted execution environment. So what that means, it's like a secure enclave or secure area. Maybe one analogy to describe would be, let's just say you have a factory and it's producing stuff that you don't want competitors to see. Imagine you don't have any any locks on your doors, or you might not even have any doors at all, and your computers just walk in and out and see whatever it is that you're making. Okay, that's how your computer's currently working. All right, it's like the way chips with trusted execution environment works. It encrypts the data before it starts processing it, and then decrypts it on the way out, so it can be put on the drive where it's encrypted again. So it's like having a lock on the front door and the back door of that factory, and no one can get into that factory and see what's being made inside of that factory or get out of that factory without having the right keys.
Right. So
Okay.
how far away are we from this, David? Like, is this something that people can access? Is it,
Well,
you know?
we can definitely get desktop computers right now. I'm still trying to get information on it. It's quite difficult, especially with the Intel chips. But you can definitely build a desktop computer with that type of technology right now. The only thing that I'm not seeing anything much of at the moment is local AI language models that could run in that space and be that watchdog that we were talking about, because that's how I prefer to see AI work. But yeah, so that secret network that I was talking about before, Thala and Marlin, they're all running private blockchains using trusted execution environments.
Okay.
Right. So not only are they decentralizing AI, because that's a big problem as well. It's all centralized at the moment, and every point of data collection and gathering is it's not protected. Whereas with this it would be. So that's the direction I'd like to see the technology go. Yeah, just one other like a little analogy as far as confidential computing or private computing is concerned. One of the things that was a precursor to all this is something called multi-party computing, and that was designed to solve a problem which they call the millionaire's problem. Okay, and the reason why they call the millionaire's problem, you could have like three people, and you want to see which one is the richest out of the three of them. It could tell you that information without telling you how much that person is like earning. Okay, so yeah, so this is another way. It's like you could have transparency and not give away information that people might not want to have given out. So the person that's the richest, we'll know who that is, but we won't know whether they're like making $1 more than the person that's second, or quite a lot more.
Okay, so again, there's a bit of anonymity in this, right?
Yeah. And it's like what's exciting for me about this way of approaching AI is like it's like we're talking about our data here. We should own it and we should be able to control it. There's a lot of liberation in that, and also the way AI currently is making people that are paranoid about it not wanting to interact with it.
Yes. Okay. This is something that I'm really concerned about, because, that's what's starting to come to my attention is, okay, so we're all somehow party to this, and yet those of us that probably have the most integrity around it are turned off and just turning a blind eye and walking away. And then it's like, okay, well then our energy is not steering it, and that's really unfortunate, right? So it's like, how do we get in, stay safe, take our initiative in the direction we want it to go in, and not be compromised in doing that? Like, that's the question. And I know you have some answers, and what I really would love is for you to walk us through them mentally first, and then start to provide us with tools so that we can start accessing these solutions step by step, right?
Yeah, and going back to the whole privacy thing before, like I was saying before, it's like it seems counterintuitive, but the biggest thing and the biggest value to large language models that this is going to have is going to increase transparency. And it's also going to mean when you go and ask a general language, like a large language model AI question, because we have this privacy control in place, you're actually going to be able to probably get more accurate information, and also have more information available to you than what you currently do now. So it's like, so people, especially the bad guys, will think, oh, we've got to keep this privacy stuff on the head. We don't want it because we want to see everything that's going on. We actually shooting yourself in the foot by running it the way it currently is.
Oh, it's so confusing, right? It's kind of like damned if we do and damned if we don't.
Yeah.
For different reasons on different levels, right? Like, for example, the whole question of health information, it's like, yeah, we do want there to be transparency on one level, but then we also want there to be privacy on another level. So
and with
how do
confidential computer, we're going to be able to have that. So
okay.
that's what's really exciting about it. So just this is much of the most mind-blowing thing for me when I was looking at this, because I was just looking at my own privacy or the privacy of the person using the AI, and I wasn't expecting to come across the fact this is actually going to increase the amount of information that's going to be available out there, and also improve the quality of it. I can, instead of doing the opposite, where it might be locking up a whole bunch of information and making the AI less useful because it can't get hold of as much as what it's able to get hold of before.
Right. Okay. Well, boldly going forward, I feel like it's time for another little question coming from you. And I'll pull a couple of cards on the next step here. Let me pull the cards up. And you direct me, David, to what you would like me to look at this point.
Okay, well, what's exciting for me today is seeing how the blockchain can be combined with artificial intelligence, and then there's the privacy layer with trusted execution environments and the computer chips for the computers that are running those running AI on those blockchains. That's really exciting for me. But one area of the technology which is not really being talked about much at all, but is going to come in the future sometime soon, much probably within the next 5 to 10 years, is quantum computing.
Yeah.
So to me, that's like the fourth link that we're going to look at, and that could also be why you might be getting a much better feeling about AI than what you were in the past, because that's going to play a role sometime in the future as well. So maybe I'd like to see what the cards would have to say about quantum computing when combined with the blockchain and with confidential computing.
Aha. Okay. Wow. It's interesting. The Strength Maiden is, to me, she indicates the best of both worlds. We've got the wild and the tame. We've got the instinct and the intelligence, right? You see that that symbol of infinity over her head.
Yeah.
We've got things balancing, coming back into balance, and the best of both worlds coming into balance. So to me, what this does is it puts power, because 8s are about manifestation, but they're about power. They're about frequency and power. It puts the power back into the hands of the people, right? So, we have to learn, because she's a lot, the Strength Maiden is a lot about, you don't oppress the instincts. You don't beat the instincts out of the lion. You train them to not be destructive, but you also use the strength and the wildness of them. So to me, it's bringing balance and putting the strength and, that power back in the hands of the people. Oh yeah, another 8 of Wands. So the only barrier is it's too fast. Everything's happening so fast. So people may get spun because everything's going to happen so fast that it's you're talking and I'm like, OMG, I can barely comprehend what you're talking about. Just like you said back in the day when we were like, what's a website and what's an email? I mean, I remember it. I do remember it. I remember being like, huh? What are you talking about? I can send a letter? Where does it go? There's no telephone line. Like, I remember being that unaware of how it worked. Like, and even this day, if I really stop and think about it too long, I'm like, okay, this is just freaking me out. It's kind of
Well, most people understand what a website is at least now, but back then when it was first, when it was still new 20, 30 years ago, people just like,
yeah.
what is that? It's like, what is a website? Is it like a house? What is it? What's
Yeah.
the domain name?
Right. Well, and it's like you're just trying to fathom how something can exist in a virtual reality
Yeah.
that we can all go
Yeah.
to. And it just, because the language we're using to describe it doesn't really, it's not very translatable, right? Like even things
Well,
like a
they do their
domain
best, but it's like, yeah, and also one of the problems with the tech industry, I suppose it's the same with any industry. You all have their own terminology, and you've got to try and learn what that terminology is. So it's not just the tech industry. It's like we could be accountants talking about finance today, and we could be talking about double ledgers and all this sort of stuff. And people think, well, what's a double ledger? I have no idea what that is. Can you explain that? And then you try to
Oh, I
explain
know.
it. It's
Right? It's like, I know even with the metaphysical terminology, right? When we start talking about, like dowsing in etheric bodies and astral plane and stuff, and people are like, huh? Like,
yeah, so that's where it's
right?
really
The nine
exciting right
dimensions
now.
of
But also,
consciousness. Aren't you aware of
yeah,
this? Oh, like, shoot. Oh, I got to go back to the basics here. Okay. So, yeah, it's just that I think it's going to be so fast that we're struggling to just even like get our heads around it, and it's going to come sweeping in. I mean, I've really only just heard this described to me in the last 6 months, and I'm still going like, I don't know. It's still like barely comprehensible, right? So, but it does feel like there is something wild and also fiercely integral about this. Like it could be the thing that like just balances power on this planet, basically, is what I'm being shown. Now, yes, okay, so we have 2 sixes, the number 6 of swords and the lovers. So it's going to be very important how we learn about this, because this is about the spoken word, and it's about communication, clear, concise, direct communication, so that people have the clarity. And the other word is consent. When we have the lovers, there's a lot about choices and the power of our choice and where we put our consent. So consent and clarity are 2 words that feel very related to this.
and what I really like about that, Ashala, is like it's like even Cliff High himself is a much bigger fan of AI than what I was, and maybe what you were as well. It's like even he is saying it's like eventually those training wheels are going to come off, and we're going to be dealing with consciousness directly, and AI will no longer be a thing. And when you're dealing direct with consciousness, consent and clarity is like very important, because it's like we're both quite into indigenous. It's like lawful,
Spirituality,
LORE,
which is a
and
form of a technology, right?
and when they're dealing directly with consciousness, they're dealing with the animals around them, the plants, and all that sort of thing. And a big part of that communication is consent.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we're right on. It's right on target here. It's like, it is going to be an equalizer. It is going to balance power. It has the potential to do that with clarity and consent. And it actually gets us talking about what is real humanity, what is real value, and where do we put our intent on our consent. And okay, so here's a funny thing, right? Because as I was talking with my kids about, what's going to separate, like I am such a creator of content, and people don't even know like a tenth of what I have available up my sleeve that I've been gathering for a lot of years. And I've just been on the treadmill of working to pay the bills and look after the people that I love and so on. So I haven't been in a position yet to really, go inward gather everything, get the right platforms, and get it out in the world in a big way. And I think actually part of that is because I'm meant to do it in these new ways. And if I'd done it before, most of that content would just be out there and open to be mined by a zillion different AI models that are coming on and grabbing all my stuff and taking it in a million directions, and who knows, right? So I think that, it's going to be powerful for me to come on at this exact juncture and get my stuff on in a certain way, and also setting the bar. So for example, I had this conversation with my kids about, okay, so say for example, my tarot courses, if I have them designed with all of this incredible, just strategically on a what is the word you're looking for? The confidential, whatever platform.
Confidential, so
Yeah, all of that.
we decide what of your courses actually goes out to the world into AI.
Exactly.
Which is what the public will be using to look at your stuff.
So, there'll be a limit to how much can be mined out of my stuff and utilized for in whatever way people want to utilize it. But it's also like someone who has the degree of authority in the subject and years of experience, and people who value who I am and that I have a reputation in this subject. It's like, if they, if it's up on an internet where people can go and see, and they, put that in their search, for people who just want to create something they know nothing about, make AI do all the work, la 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 la. They open up and see what the market looks like. And if they see someone like me at the top, it's already like I am a verifiable, valued,
and that's one thing
information.
we touched on. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And you touched on something that we haven't really discussed. We're already using AI when we're doing searches on the internet now. So you would have noticed, like, the first response you get when you put a question into a search engine now is actually coming from an AI, and then you got the traditional website links that used to populate. They're still showing up underneath that, and that's going to revolutionize how businesses are going to be found on the internet, and individuals are going to be found. So you just hit on a really important note there. If you want to be seen as being an expert in your field, then maybe getting yourself, it's like, and it's still early days. Yeah, it's like, I'm not sure what the best way would be to go about doing this, but there's already talk about how to get yourself seen and known within AI. So,
but also as I said, because, for example, if someone knows nothing about the topic and they've created something using AI completely, right? And they just plop that up to try to make a buck on it or whatever, it's going to be, there's still something about a real person, that has the experience and the wisdom and the authority in those areas and the reputation. AI can't create that value.
Yeah. And that's interesting. It's like, in looking from a spiritual point of view as well. So when the training wheels finally come off, and we're not using AI or quantum computing, we're doing with consciousness directly. It's like, there's a lot of talk about the quantum financial system. My belief is it's not a financial system at all. It's like us talking directly to each other for our consciousness, and we're all like a different piece of the puzzle of what the world needs, and we'll be able to connect to ourselves more clearly and more effectively through that. So let's just say I need it's like a pot and pan, and it's like, I might not necessarily have the money for a pot and pan, but I might have something else of value to yourself. So like some computing advice or computing services. It's like universe will put us together, and I'll get the pots and pans, and you get the computing services you need. And also, in order for that to work well, we're all going to have to become more authentic and unique. because without being authentic and unique, we don't have anything to offer to the world. Okay, because I'm coming to see you. You have something that no one else has, Ashala. So that's why I'm coming to see you. You're coming to see me because I have something that you consider to be unique and no one else has. And that's where AI is eventually going to just like fall by the wayside. While it can create absolutely brilliant content, people eventually start to see through that it's not authentic because it doesn't really have a soul. And that's another area that's quite exciting for me as far as this is concerned.
Well, and it really does inspire us all to upgrade ourselves, right? It's like, you know, and I think it's very interesting, as we've talked about, like so many things will go by the wayside, everything, right? Like there's the potential for that. There's the potential for a lot of things to be redundant, certainly in the realm of education.
Yeah. And not to just AI too much. It's like it's going to be quite valuable to us in training us up and help us become better at what we do. So in that sense, AI is going to be extremely useful because we're going to be able to like learn more about our particular fields that we work in and become better at them.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's interesting, you know, just a closing thought here on this. What I'm starting to observe is that AI is going to really have a lot of domain in the realm of thought and intellect and facts. And however, humanity still reigns in the realm of like real world interaction and relationship, right? Like anything to do with relationship and interacting with the actual real natural world. That's our domain. Good luck, AI. I mean, you know.
Well, as Cliff Hayes has pointed out, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the audience would have noticed the same thing, it's like AI can't connect directly to the consciousness itself, to the consciousness field itself. I mean, it can through quantum AI to a certain extent, but it's still not a direct connection. And that's where AI is lacking. But it can help us connect, which is interesting.
It is interesting. It's fascinating. Oh my gosh, David, this has been really cool. We've had viewers with us, but none of them have jumped into the comments. So
no, we're doing a really good job then, and that I feel like they don't ask questions because we're just like we're being a bit more clearer today than what we have been in the past.
I don't know. Anyway, folks, it's been lovely to have you along for the ride, and we're going to reformat this, do more. I feel like this is such a cool direction to go and a path to walk, and we're all learning together, exploring together with our different visions and our different perspectives. So we'll be back for more of this in the future. And thank you ever so much, David, for all of your work and all of your gathering of information to educate us.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Have a great week, everybody. Here we are on a Monday, Tuesday, for those of you down in the Southern Hemisphere. Bye for now.